What a day. What a day. We had some good and bad, of course. Every fantasy week is going to have some ups and downs. You can't be right about everything, but there were a ton of good things that occurred on Sunday here in the morning and afternoon slate of games here in week 1, 2025. Emeka Egbuka has arrived. Emeka Egbuka, 4 of 6, 67 yards and 2 touchdowns, looked remarkable in this week 1 outing against the Falcons. Penix Jr. looked good. Bijan Robinson. A lot of takeaways from some of these running backs. We got a lot of buy lows right away, and we knew this would happen. Freak out Freddies are on full alert. We've got a lot of buy low opportunities. Hendy's being sold off like he's nothing. RJ Harvey, people are abandoning, even though he had an amazing 50-yard run. This is a week for the ages. We'll be buying tons of players on the cheap that we love, that we still love, that we have faith in. We're going to be celebrating the rises of players that we knew would do well and that did well. Buka, Garret Wilson, Justin Fields, the Jets proving to everybody that these panic Peters and these doubters are going to climb back into their holes and never show their face for 1,000 days. You got Debo Samuel doubters everywhere. I hear, is that a cricket? Cricket sounds on Debo? Do you hear that?
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live whenever news breaks. We're live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're live at midnight pretty much every single night. So lots to talk about. Buka looked like the real deal. I mean, he didn't even really get going. Does anybody realize he was kind of kept in a bottle, a genie in a bottle, barely let out, 4 of 6. I mean, Baker wasn't really on his game. He had 3 touchdowns, but Baker wasn't really on his game. It was kind of a rough outing for the Bucs at times, and they're getting used to things without Liam Cohen, so it could take a couple weeks. Same thing for a lot of these guys. Travis Hunter we'll talk about him in a second, really good considering, but a lot of these guys are getting used to their skin. Some of the rookies, we have potentially a week 1, 2, 3 lull for some of the rookies, and we expected that. That's likely to happen. But Egbuka just looks like the Malik Neighbors of this draft class. The precision, the route running, the hands, the ability to knife across the field on a drag route or a post route and just be the biggest target on the field. You know, that's what when Baker sees him, he knows if I throw it in this vicinity, this technician of a beast, of a monster named Emeka Egbuka is going to find a way to haul in the pass, pull it in, use his amazing grip and hands and spatial awareness and intelligence. The guy moves like a 5-year veteran, and he's learned all these skills by playing in the best wide receiver rooms in college football that rival the current room, that are better than the current room that he's in right now. Mike Evans was non-existent to a degree, but I think he's a good buy low opportunity and could have a bounce back week number 2. We got a lot of reactive Rodgers. Nick in here says Hunter sucks. So Nick's really willing to write off Travis Hunter after 1 week when he caught 6 balls. Caught 6 balls. It was pretty good. He had 9 to 9.5 fantasy points. And a lot of reactive Richards are going to come in here and overreact. And it's going to be great because we got a lot of buy low opportunities. Obviously, Hunter can be had for free if Nick owns him. So we got a lot of good stuff on the horizon here for the buy lows for weeks 1, 2, coming out of week 1 and coming out of week 2, coming out of week 3. Egbuka, just what a remarkable player. What a remarkable player. What else can we say other than we barely see him scratching the surface and he comes out with 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I don't know if you guys watched the Scott Hansen interview or the story that I put up on Scott Hansen and I talking about Egbuka, and I said Egbuka is going to be a top 10 wide receiver, and he goes, and I zoom in on it, and so anyway, I posted that when he was talking about Egbuka and when he was talking about Bill, Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, who we'll get to in a second, it felt like he was going to say something. I felt like he was going to say, Smitty. I thought he was this close. And then when he started talking about Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, he said there are people in the fantasy industry that think that this guy could be, the legit number 1 and are excited about him. When he was on the show, he was surprised that I agreed because he wanted to talk about Bill. He was surprised that I thought Bill would be the starter right away. And so I don't know that he talked to anybody after he did our interview. So who else could he be talking about? Because he seemed shocked to hear it. So I felt like he was so close to saying something. We love Scott. Scott, you did. If you end up watching this, you're too busy to watch the show, I think. But if you end up watching this, we love you, pal. You did a fantastic job today. What a job Scott had.
Mashed potatoes!
And he executed upon those commercials like a pro. We barely noticed him. Everybody crying and complaining like a baby about the 4 commercials they were going to play. I'm going to boycott. You're going to boycott the best, program on earth aside from this one, of course. You're going to boycott what? Because they played 15-minute commercials 4 times, or 15-second commercials 4 times, and you barely noticed it. They did an excellent job, so everybody calm down. Scott to the moon, and I love the conversation we had with him. Can't wait for him. I think he's coming back on the show because the Commanders, I believe, are heading to the Super Bowl, and Bill will be the starter, and that was our challenge. Although I tried to make the Emeka Egbuka the challenge that Scott and I had, if you remember that interview. Okay. Anyway, Egbuka, great player, amazing top 10 wide receiver in the making. We called it. We told you. Ma, get the meatloaf ready. Get the meatloaf ready, Ma. We're doing it live. I smell meatloaf. Ma, the meatloaf. Okay, so let's get to the Garrett Wilson celebration as well. Remember when we talked about Garrett Wilson last night, the night before, when we were discussing what it is that makes him special? And a couple people are saying, Smitty, why is he in trade recommendations? He won't be any more in trade recommendations. This is the guy you want to go trade away. This is the guy you want to go trade for. But Garrett Wilson, the reason we talked about him so much this offseason, and I believe he's a Mars man extraordinaire.
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
Next to Egbuka.
Mars man.
It's kind of shameful that Egbuka. Look at this crew right here. Look at this crew right here.
And spinning aimlessly in space.
Jaylen Warren looking phenomenal. Chase Brown doing Chase Brown things. Could have got more work. The Bengals were kind of iffy. But Chase Brown, Hampton's a good buy low, 15 carries. Egbuka, Debo went crazy. JSN looking good there at the end of the game. And Garrett Wilson, this Mars man board is an absolute smash. An absolute smash.
Let's go! Mashed potatoes!
Now, the reason that Garrett Wilson is such a monster is exactly what we said all offseason, and specifically hardcore beating a dead horse on the topic last night and the night before, was that he's going up against Sauce Gardner in practice every day. And this guy's not some, one of those people that would say something like, why is Sauce always going to guard me in practice? And I want to get open once in a while, and I don't want to have the tough coverage. He literally walks up and goes, Sauce, I want you. And Sauce walks up, and they're constantly battling. It's like I said last night, it's like when your wife's screaming in your ear when you're mock drafting, and then you go to your real draft, and you're not dealing with that, and you get a 90-second timer, you feel like you've been trained to handle anything. So Garrett Wilson going up against Sauce Gardner in practice every day, this is why he's such an amazing prepared player. And he's literally going through a brutal test day in and day out to make himself better. And the thing that was said about it was, and this is coming from Sauce Gardner, coming from Garrett Wilson, coming from other people, is that on Sunday, it's going to be a cakewalk for Garrett Wilson. That's when he's going to be the most open on Sunday, because during practices, Sauce and him are trying to best each other in the competitive nature of the two. How about the Raiders? The Raiders are going to suck, Smitty. Didn't you know about the Raiders last year? I heard on another channel that the Raiders didn't have a very good offensive line last year when they didn't have Geno, didn't have Genti, didn't have those wide receivers, didn't have Brock Bowers. Now, Brock Bowers suffered a knee injury, gave us all a scare. I'll spoil it. He's going to be fine. He said it's not a big deal. So Brock Bowers should be ready to go for week number 2.
Mashed potatoes!
That is good news. That is excellent news. I'll get to that in a second. Brock Bowers is going to be fine. Garrett Wilson, 7 of 9, 95 yards and a touchdown. Almost had a second touchdown. Got tackled near the goal line. Garrett Wilson was phenomenal. Garrett Wilson is getting that DJ Moore treatment and experience, where DJ Moore with Justin Fields was a top 5 to 7 wide receiver. Garrett Wilson is, like I said at the very beginning when we put him on the Moon Man list, do you remember what I said? He could very well lead the league in receptions. I'm not saying he leads the league in yards and touchdowns and receptions. I'm not saying he's close to that value, but it could be a player that is at least in the top 5 in receptions, and he's clearly over 1,100 yards. He has 10 touchdowns or more. This is a secret weapon wide receiver 1, and this guy was stolen in rounds 4 and 5, like taking candy from a baby. And Garrett Wilson, Mars man extraordinaire, as well as all these other Mars men. I mean,
the Saturn
what a crew.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Lots of players to discuss on this board, one of which is Bo Nix. A lot of you are going to freak out on Bo Nix.
Spaceman.
Mahomes was a dog despite being down wide receivers. Rice is going to be back to be a top 5 wide receiver per start. Kyron punched in another touchdown and looked really good today. BTJ was quiet till he ran a touchdown in. London got injured. We got more on London. We'll have more on London. Hurt his shoulder, probably an AC joint situation. They're doing X-rays as well as some imaging. We should know more tomorrow. Hard to know how this is gonna end up impacting you. It could be 1 or 2 games. It could be 0. We'll just have to wait and see on Drake London's injury. Achane is in a horrible situation. Tua's awful. Miami Mike should be fired today. Breece Hall looked absolutely magnificent today. Breece Hall,
Mashed potatoes.
Breece Hall told you. Breece Hall told you. All these people that doubted Breece Hall. He's Breece Hall. He's in a committee. They don't want to use him. You know, there's a lot of negativity that even influenced, you know, some of us as we just read it, see it, and you have to like shake yourself, slap yourself. We talked about this the other night. It's like, look, people are going to throw a lot of negativity around without knowing much information and having no ball knowledge at all. And it can wear on you. You have to remind yourself. We talked about it last night. You got to remind yourself why it is you like these players. And while you're in the middle of a crap storm of negativity, you have to hold firm. You have to hold firm. Are you panicking on Bo Nix? Michael, do you panic on the first sight of anything? I mean, no, you don't panic on Bo Nix. Bo Nix is still a dog, and he had a really bad game. But Bo Nix is going to be okay. Bo Nix will be fine. Calm down. You can't jump ship on certain players because of one outing. Bo Nix still threw an amazing touchdown pass. He's still got that dog in him. I am not concerned about it. But we'll get to Bo Nix in a minute. Let's continue on the Garrett Wilson path. Garrett Wilson's a magnificent. Michael, the Knicks call was a joke. How about not, Michael? How about we put you in timeout for a little while, Michael, so you can think about your negativity. There we go. Michael, you can sit on that for a while. Garrett Wilson, 7 of 9, 95 yards and a touchdown in this week 1 loss to the Steelers. I feel so bad for Fields. I wanted Fields to win this game so badly. He deserved to win this game. And he played his heart out. Garrett Wilson played his heart out. The Jets played their heart out. It was a remarkable outing and contest. Justin Fields had he was 16 of 22 for a touchdown in this Jets 34 to 32 week 1 loss against the Steelers, adding 12 carries for 48 yards and not 1 but 2 touchdowns. So he was a marvel with his 3 touchdowns in this game. Aaron Rodgers was also pretty dang good. And wow, you know, if he can stay healthy, this is going to be quite an interesting situation in Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers throwing 30 times, completing 22 passes for 244 and not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns in the Steelers win. And what a day for Aaron Rodgers. You know, he looked sluggish and old out there when he moved around and roam, but he doesn't need to roam and move around much. He's just got to stay healthy. And it's a tall order for him, but if he does stay healthy, this is a pretty good environment for him. He doesn't have to do much. He's kind of supported instead of carrying the team. So Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf looks like he's going to be force-fed. The running game is going to be a rotation, just like we kind of predicted all offseason. Warren will do okay. Warren did okay. They're going to rotate, but What a nice little situation for Aaron Rodgers. We'll see if this team can actually make the playoffs. They very well can. It's a tall order, I believe, still for Aaron Rodgers to stay healthy all year. But if he does, they have a real shot. Bucky Irving, 14 carries for 37 yards. Wasn't the best game for Bucky, as a couple of other running backs. Like even Bijan didn't have like the best overall game, but Bijan did 2 amazing things and caught an amazing touchdown reception and had a nice, breakaway run. Bucky had an unbelievable touchdown. It was a reception, I think it was. And he dove for the pylon, probably around the 4-yard line. He was like out of bounds, reaching over, just doing Bucky things. And he was clearly frustrated throughout the whole game, not having any room to run. Wasn't his fault. He'd get bottled up by 3 or 4 defenders, and he just had no room to run. The whole Bucs offense was just not fine-tuned. They were missing Liam Cohen probably, just like the Lions looked really bad missing Ben Johnson. Just like I predicted the Lions would be sluggish and be a team that didn't represent or resemble their former self for a little while until they figure out that they got to make some changes and adjust to their new adaptations that they're now probably looking at deploying. So Goff is turning more into a pumpkin, like I predicted. And I think they still got enough talent that they can spread the ball around. But this is concerning. It's concerning for Achane in Miami with the Miami offense looking the way it is. And it's concerning for all Detroit players to a degree, looking at what this offense is like without Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is very missed. And Goff is not the same talent, quarterback talent, without Ben Johnson in his life. But I still think it's salvageable. I'm not as scared about Detroit's situation as I am Achane's environment and everything around that. And Tyreek Hill's already just flustered. Tyreek Hill's going to force a trade. Everyone and their mother probably is starting to feel and sense that he's going to try and force a trade over to KC. We'll see what happens. But anyway, Bucky is still very good in terms of what he did with what he got. 14 carries is not a lot. This game script really kind of game scripted him out. But 4 catches for 8 yards and a touchdown. While the yardage wasn't good receiving wise, the 4 catches was proof that he is, a third down back. He is going to be kind of impossible to game script out, but when the game script calls for more receiving instead of any rushing, you will get a little bit of one of these imbalanced games that is kind of a little bit to be desired. But what a salvage touchdown. If he wouldn't have got that touchdown, we would be crying in here, right? And everybody'd be like, oh my God, what do we do with Bucky? I knew he was a bust, Smitty. Brock Bowers, as I said, is expected to be fine with the knee injury. He had 100+ yards in this game, looked absolutely fantastic. And had he not got injured, might have had like a touchdown and looked even better than he did. Ja'Cory Krosky, Barrett, Bill, looking fantastic.
Let him cook.
Let me just say that Bill has that twitch and jump cut ability where he gets the ball, and I don't want to say Barry Sanders cutting ability, but more so like Kenneth Walker, because I think there's a difference between Barry Sanders doing it and a difference between Ken Walker. And Lev Bell makes a lot of sense too to compare it to. Lev Bell would have this ability to kind of almost come to a stop and then just go one direction, or Lev Bell would have the ability to be taking like an 80% movement step and then cut the other direction. Bill has a very quick twitch and a very good sense of where to go, when to bounce to the outside, when to bounce to the inside. His cutting, his jump cut and quick twitch ability isn't just for bouncing to the outside. It's sometimes when he's going, like let's say he's going slightly to the right and the hole, he sees an opening, he can quick twitch and bounce to the inside and literally hit the hole in a way that other running backs can't. He's just such a unique get up and go accelerator. It reminds me a little bit of Gibbs's acceleration, but with that Lev Bell or Kenneth Walker change in direction off the jump cut. And he popped this run to the outside and just looked absolutely remarkable. 10 times this man ran the ball, only 10 times, 8 yards a carry, 82 yards and a touchdown. They need to run him more. The Commander game was also like many other games, like the Detroit game, like the Rams game. A lot of these games had weird weird times of possession and drawn out situations, and there was weather and other reasons that things got off kilter. And then the Jacksonville game, the weather kind of just stopped momentum, and then everybody had to get back on course. And there's just a lot of weirdness that slowed these offenses down, but some of these big name players kept doing their thing. So Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt probably gets more carries as the season progresses, but 82 yards and a touchdown, can't complain. He absolutely beasted out. He was a fantastic play. We talked about him all morning long as being a really good start when we got the word that Ramirez was a healthy scratch. Bijan Robinson is another example, like Bucky and like Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, where they salvaged the day. They looked really good. They just didn't quite have the volume. 12 rushes is not acceptable. 24 yards, that's also not acceptable, but it's Bijan. We know it's not his fault that he got the low yards per carry. But you look at this 6 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown, and you say, this guy is matchup proof. He is so matchup proof. He can be Christian McCaffrey prime, Christian McCaffrey in his prime, Alvin Kamara in his prime, in terms of workload divide at any moment in time. If he needs to be a 100-yard wide receiver, then he can be a 100-yard wide receiver. He just proved that, today. The 24 yards is wild, because had he had 100 yards rushing or 80 yards rushing or 70, it would have been a day for the ages. But he still scored. He still had 6 receptions. He still had 100 yards. He still had 24 rushing. This is still a great day. Bijan had an unbelievable day, and he proved why he's probably the number 1 overall player in fantasy, and why we told you to draft him as the number 1, even over Jamar Chase. Time and time again, who's the number 1? Bijan. Who's the number 1? Should I go Chase? Go Bijan. That's what we told you. That's why we did it. We told you. Hope you enjoyed that. Breece Hall, as we mentioned, unbelievable day. He proved doubters wrong. People that want to say, oh, Breece, but it's a committee. What do we tell you? They're running the ball 500 times in New York this year. Why are you worried? Why you get your panties in a bunch when they run 500 times and this guy's only going to run? Look, even if we took 19 carries that he had today, and I don't think he's getting 19 carries every single game, by the way. That is 323 carries. Even if he did get that, they're running 500 times. They're not going to give him this amount of work every game. He's going to get probably 225 carries max, divided by 17, which is 13.23. He's getting 13 to 14 carries a game. 19 was an abnormal amount. And he did such good work with this committee situation. 107 yards. Braylon Allen got a touchdown, still vultured. He still did unbelievable. 2 catches for 38 yards on 4 targets. This guy is a walking highlight reel. And he can be one of the best pass-catching running backs any given season. He's proven it before. Breece Hall to the mother freaking moon. This is a running back too. Congratulations if you had the cojones to draft this guy and not listen to the noise that's been very influential on the outside of this show. You go out here, the Jets are going to suck. Fields is not a good practice quarterback. We said keep focused, draft them in spots, do what's right. Trading them high, selling them low. All these players deserve to be traded or sold at the right prices to improve your team. But trusting the process is a part of it all. Devon Achane, there's legitimate reason to be concerned. He'll definitely be on the buy low list, no doubt about it in my mind, walking into week 2. But there is built-in risk that you have to accept if you're going to go after Achane or hold Achane and not sell him. And you can't really sell him because who's going to buy him at the price that you deserve? Nobody. So you really have to just hold tight. Make sure you got Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon's getting dropped like no player I've seen. So if you don't inquire about Ollie Gordon, see if your opponent's just going to drop him. Because if you say, what do you want for Ollie Gordon? They may not include Ollie Gordon as the player they're dropping with their expected waiver claims. Let me say that one more time. Do not go asking the Ollie Gordon owner, if you're an Achane owner and you missed out on Ollie, don't go asking for him, or he might change his mind and not cut him with the first wave of waiver claims. You could try and inquire if you think that that won't change their mind, that maybe they're like, hey, instead of dropping him, I'll trade him. But my guess is that they'll inquire with you if they're interested in that kind of swap, because they're going to be like, hey, when someone says, hey, do you want this guy? And they're going to cut him. You want Jacoby Myers? You're like, not really. He's like, sure. Why, are you going to cut him later? I'll just pick him up. Someone might inquire. Now, there's an advantage of trading for a player so you don't have to compete in the waiver wire, because I'm sure somebody else wants Ollie Gordon. But Ollie Gordon will be dropped like crazy. Should you cut him? Absolutely not. He's a Nova man for a reason. We love Ollie Gordon. He's got a lot of upside. I don't know whether the situation gets resolved in Miami, because Miami Mike might be the worst head coach in the National Football League. So it's tough to say. Devon Achane got kind of lucky in a way that he got a touchdown grab, but at the same time, the guy's still ripping off good yardage. 7 totes for 55 yards. Okay, adding 20 receiving yards and 1 touchdown on 3 receptions. It seems like no matter what, he's going to do well. And if this team is down, they throw to him. He had a receiving touchdown. He had 20 yards receiving. He had, what was it? How many receptions? 3. So the PPR points are there. So if they're down, he's okay. If they're up, he's okay. He's really baked into the offense in a way that the flow of the game can't really affect him. Game script can't really affect him. There is still some risk that they don't live near the red zone. There's still some risk that he gets injured because he puts the whole team on his shoulders or they overwork him. But he's still a very attractive buy low right now because his value used to be, a week ago, used to be 12, 13, 14 overall. Now I venture to say you could probably trade for him at what would equate to, I would imagine, down at the bottom of 2, maybe top of 3. And some of the players you could buy and sell and all that might make this a very easy acquisition. So we'll talk about Achane later, but Achane had a pretty decent day at the end of it. Deebo Samuel, all the Deebo doubters. I don't see a single Deebo. Do you hear? I don't hear anybody. I don't hear. Remember all the Deebo doubters? Remember like Scott and all these people have said, Deebo's going to be bad. He's so overweight. He's not going to do well. Deebo Samuel was phenomenal in this week 1 outing, catching 7 of 10 targets for 77 yards in the Commanders' week 1 win over the Giants, adding 1 rush and 19 yards and a touchdown. He was unbelievable. He's quick. He's spry. Terry McLaurin struggled as predicted because of the absence from playing in camp and everything. And so Deebo took full advantage, and he was a great play. And Deebo did very, very well in this contest. Congratulations for everybody who stuck to their guns and drafted this man. TreVeyon Henderson was not used like he should have been used. And it's tough to say what's going to happen here. Now, when a team loses, like the Patriots did, TreVeyon Henderson ran the ball just 5 times with 27 yards in this week 1 loss to the Raiders, adding 6 receptions for 24. The key point here is 6 receptions. This is not a guy that's not being used. You don't catch 6 footballs as a running back, especially as a rookie, if you're not being used. The signs here to me are that they're going to unleash him. Think Chase Brown. I'm not trying to worry you or scare you into you should bench him until week 4 because Chase Brown did nothing in week 1. Chase Brown did nothing in week 2 last year. Chase Brown did nothing in week 3 last year. And then Chase Brown was Chase Brown. The guy we know to be Chase Brown. He was amazing from weeks 4 on. Jahmyr Gibbs wasn't used in week 1 his rookie year. Week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't do anything until week number 7. In fact, I think I have the Jahmyr Gibbs board from last year still available. And you can see, let me see if I can find the, I guess I did get rid of, no, I didn't get rid of it. I think it might be right here. Yeah, here it is. So Jahmyr Gibbs is 2020, or his rookie season line, nothing in week 1, nothing in week 2, barely used in week 3 or 4, didn't even play week 5 and week 6, and then Jahmyr Gibbs came in and was a top 5 running back, only second to Christian McCaffrey this year in top 5 and top 10 finishes. He was unbelievable. And so, not talking about Jahmyr Gibbs here as much as just to say, and I'm not trying to say that Henderson's not going to do anything till week 7. I don't want to panic anybody, but there's so much of this is a slow unraveling sometimes, and you just can't predict when. Like if you were to sit Egbuka in week 1 and think, oh well, we should have sat Henderson, we should have sat Travis Hunter, we should have sat RJ Harvey. You don't know when they're going to do what Egbuka did or do what Henderson or Chase Brown or what Jahmyr Gibbs did in week 1. Last year for Chase Brown, not as a rookie, but just last year for Chase Brown. And you just don't know. You can't know all these things. And we smashed on a lot of things, and a lot of things we're waiting on. That's just the nature. You're never going to get everything right. But the 6 receptions for 24 yards is an indication to me that we're not in a situation where Chase Brown needed until week 4. This is not that situation. He's fully used. His pass protection skills guarantee him to be on the field. They just weren't efficient. It was a tough game, and the Raiders brought their A game. Everybody ripping on the Raiders. Well, where are you now? All the crickets out there on the Raiders. Henderson will get better. This team does not necessarily have as much talent as some other teams that have that second-year quarterback. And so May's struggling a little bit to, I think, find his way in this offense. And they didn't move the football well. They just didn't use Trey Henderson properly. The play calls were not conducive to good big yardage rips. I do believe this will work out, and I believe it will work out very rapidly. Am I starting Trey Henderson in week number 2? Depends on the options, but probably absolutely the answer is yes. Am I trading for Trey Henderson walking into week number 2? Yes. Am I waiting to trade for him and let him have another bad week? No, because I don't think he will have another bad week. I'm not going to anticipate that. Travis Hunter, the negativity around Travis Hunter, like the one guy that came in here in the beginning and said Travis Hunter sucks, wild to me because he caught 6 of 8 targets for 33 yards. The 33 yards wasn't what we wanted, but 6 PPR points, 9 total points, 9.0 to 9.5, depending on how you're scoring adjuster, 9.3. This is a player that's going to develop as we go. And he could have very easily had that rushing touchdown that BTJ got, and then everybody would be singing his praises. This guy's a difference away from being a glorified home run smash. One carry, that same carry BTJ got, one carry, adding a touchdown to this line, and he would have been everybody's favorite player. We are that small maneuver away. So just understand he's a great buy low. 6 of 8 targets. He's a weapon. They want to get him the ball. The Jaguars won this game. That's good. And they're going to look to try and improve and be better every week in using these weapons. Don't think that they're like, oh, this is enabling me to not use Travis Hunter the right way. They're going to use Travis Hunter more. He's a fantastic buy low. Harold Fenton Jr., 7 of 9 for 63 yards in the Browns' week 1 loss to the Bengals. Love this kid. There's a reason why he's been atop the waiver wire tight end room for a long time now on all of our preemptive shows. So make sure you don't leave him out there. This guy led the college football scene over Jeremiah Smith, over every wide receiver, Ted McMillan, Travis Hunter, every wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith as well. Every one of them, he led them in receptions and yards. He was the number 1 pass catcher in college football in receptions and yards, and he was a tight end, and he outscored everybody. He outperformed everybody. This is a monster. I love Harold Fenton Jr., and he's got tons and tons of upside. Mike Evans, 5 of 8 for 51 yards. I think this is a decent sign that he's still very much targeted. It's just Baker had a bad day, and I think Evans will bounce back. He's actually a pretty solid buy low. Is Egbuka the number 1? I think so, but is Evans still a good buy low? Yes, he is. Chuba Hubbard rushed 16 times for 57 yards. He had a great day, really quiet day in the week 1 loss against the Jaguars. The bigger concern is Bryce Young kind of reverting back to when he was, there was a concern. Maybe the Panthers did not look good. He did add 3 receptions for 32 yards and a touchdown, but it wasn't like that came in the meat and potatoes of a win or anything like that. So Chase Brown looked really, really good at times, and then the offense just kind of held him back. The good takeaway here is the volume was there. 21 totes was absolutely fantastic. The yards per carry was not good, but his touchdown run was amazing, and Chase Brown did us proud. And he's, if for anybody, any reason anybody's selling low, you buy him, but probably no one's going to panic because at the end of the day, he scored. Jamar Chase, 2 of 5 for 26 yards. He does this a handful of times a year. It just happened to come in week 1. So are you buying low? Probably can't, but if you can, sure. Someone's panicking on him, and they're like, oh, I took an L, and my team's struggling anyway. I lost Rashee Rice or Worthy, and I've got Chase. Maybe they will sell him, but I'm not worried about it. Here's the Bryce Young line, 18 of 35, 154, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Was not a good day. He did have the 40 yards scrambling, but I'm not saying to give up on him, but it is definitely a concerning situation. Joe Burrow also was kind of, this offense was just sluggish. 14 completions is not what you want out of Joe Burrow. 113 yards. How could Jamar Chase do anything? So you can blame Jamar Chase all you want, not getting open or whatever, but it also comes down to did the football end up good catchable balls end up going Jamar Chase's way game in or quarter in and quarter out? No. So 113 and 1 touchdown wasn't what we wanted, but guess what? There's some positive here. Week 1 win over the Browns. We've seen this team start from, a losing deficit and slow start. And offensively, it wasn't what we wanted, but the win is motivating. And the win, I think, is going to be good for this team walking into the remaining weeks. I just think it's going to be a positive stepping stone versus losing and having low production. And so this is good. Etienne was such a surprise today. 16 carries for 143 yards in this week 1 win over the Panthers, adding 3 receptions for 13 yards. I mean, he was so good in this game. He is definitely Liam Cohen's guy right now. We'll just kind of see how it changes throughout the season, but he looked really, really good. If Etienne stays healthy, what a revitalized campaign he's going to have, or career he's going to have for at least a short period of time under Liam Cohen's tutelage. What a phenomenal performance out of Etienne. And he did well even to the end of the game, ripping off long runs, and he just was elusive in space. I loved what he did. It wasn't like it fell into his lap, the numbers. He actually made it happen. He was elusive, cutting back left and right, showing tremendous skill and cutback ability and just spatial awareness on the field. Brian Thomas Jr. caught 1 of 7 targets. So the 7, it was concerning that T. Law missed him this many times. I'm still excited about Trevor Lawrence to a degree. I'm still excited about Liam Cohen for sure, but we need better than this. We need better than this from Travis Hunter. We need better than this from BTJ. We need better than this from T. Law and Liam Cohen. But the touchdown was a salvage move here. Otherwise, people would be panicking like crazy on BTJ. And you still might be able to buy him low. It's hard to say what the reaction people will have, whether they feel like they got lucky and skated by and then they want to get rid of him and just fear that Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be the guy. Baker Mayfield was 17 of 32, 167, but he did have 3 touchdowns. Like he was off, but he still was a dog in some ways. And, Buka was a big reason why. So that is all of the news that I was going to go over. Gibbs had a rough outing. We have more news we can talk about, and I don't have screenshots of everything because some of those games are wrapping up, and I go live right when the games end, so I don't have some of the screenshots, but I can certainly verbalize these and talk to you guys about them, and we can potentially even write them on the board here. Let me move this over here, and we'll pull up the marker board, and I can actually write on the marker board and put the numbers. But Gibbs is certainly a buy low. There's some risk baked in. There's risk you got to, I guess, accept more so than being baked in. The risk you got to accept is that I don't know what Goff is going to look like without Ben Johnson. We knew it was going to be kind of tough sledding for a while. We knew they were going to potentially not look like the exact same team. And Goff was 225 and a touchdown with an interception. And 31 of 39. Like he passed well. 31 of 39 wasn't. That was actually pretty good. But he just didn't. He just didn't move the ball the way that you wanted him to, and it was just a weird outing for him. I think at the end of the day, what's going to happen is the Lions will get things pieced together, and they will be more efficient as the weeks move on. I think it's an adjustment period. I don't think it's necessarily that they're going to be garbage. Drake London, according to this report, is considered day-to-day as of now with the sprained shoulder. Again, it's the AC joint, so London is, in my opinion, very questionable for week number 2. He'll be a big question mark. And London's probably going to be out, if I had to give you an expectation, 1 to 2 weeks if there's the best case scenario. It's possible that this is 0 to 2. In fact, let's just leave it 0 to 2 weeks. That is a best case scenario, that the AC joint sprain is, a problem. They want to make sure that it stabilizes so he doesn't have, the risk of literally snapping where the collarbone meets the shoulder. But once it becomes a point where it's just a pain tolerance issue, he could wear a jacket, go out there and be okay, and be kind of sluggish. But this is a brutal blow to the London owners. Nico Collins, had a very, very bad day because Stroud was, not bouncing back like I kind of feared he would. So Nico brought in 25 yards on 3 receptions. So Nico was, let me see if I can get rid of this real quickly. Hold on. Appreciate all your super chats. I'll be handling super chats in 1 second. Nico was 3 for 25 and 0 TDs. Not a good day for Nico Collins at all. Brian Robinson Jr. at 33 yards. Cam Ward, 112 yards. That's it. Very bad day. We figured that would be the case for Cam going up against that Broncos defense. Very, very, very tough start. Jacobs had a salvage touchdown at the end of what was appearing to be not the best game. Caught 1 pass for 4 yards. Was really looking at like a 30, 40-yard game until at the very end he was able to run and punch a touchdown in. So he had 66 yards and 1 TD. That is Jacobs. So that was a pretty good outing for Jacobs at the end of it all. Like, what a salvage, touchdown affair for him. George Kittle is having an MRI. He has an injured hamstring and got removed from the game and did not return, was showing up in street clothes. And so he will be probably missing, I would say, 1 to 3 weeks, but it's possible that this is 0 and that he's going to be able to go out there and play. But hard to imagine having a hamstring injury and then just being able to play the next week and not putting yourself in a position where you're risking a major tear. So we'll have to play it by ear on the George Kittle front. CMC ended up getting worked like crazy in this game. Very reckless of his coach. Again, I said if he comes out of this game and he hasn't completely injured his hamstring, or I'm sorry, his calf, and hasn't torn his calf or ruptured an Achilles tendon, he's not out of the woods. He's literally going to be worse off than he was when he sat out practice on Thursday when he started to feel something in his calf. But he did run the ball 22 times for 69 yards, and then he caught 9 passes for 73 yards. So he had a nice little outing, Christian McCaffrey. He does seem like he is doing way more damage in the pass, especially when he came back last year, than he is running the football. And that might be something we see a lot, especially with the way the Niners, and this is fine because if you're in PPR or even half PPR, that 9 for 73 that McCaffrey got is a fantastic number. This feeds you so many points. So as long as he's on the field, he's going to produce well, but this is a ticking time bomb. I'm selling McCaffrey off this without a hesitation. I'm not even debating it in my mind. I'm not pausing. I'm not trying to think about, well, what if? This is a player you sell, period. McCaffrey. Kyren had 66 yards on the ground and a TD. Again, this is kind of the theme of the week. Bucky, touchdown, salvage. Bijan, touchdown, salvage. Kyren, touchdown, salvage the day. The only one that didn't salvage the day with a touchdown was Jahmyr Gibbs. And I don't know that someone's going to sell Jahmyr Gibbs cheap, but he ran the ball 19 times for, he had 19 yards. I'm sorry. 19 yards. He ran the ball 9 times for 19 yards. No TDs rushing, obviously. And then he pulled in 10 catches for 31 yards. So he ended up having a decent line, but it was very ugly. And I don't think anybody's selling him off of this, but you always could try. But there's concern. There's concern that is he not going to get consistent, amount of rushing attempts? Are they going to be playing from behind? Are they going to be in these weird shootout games where he just can't get the runs and the good runs that he needs to produce the kind of numbers that would get him number 1, number 2 overall value? Jake Moody kept missing kicks. Disastrous. J.K. Dobbins. So Harvey ripped off a 50-yard run. He had a 50-yard run. It was unbelievable. And then they kept him in for a little while. Things were not working with Dobbins and the entire offense. And then J.K. went in there after Harvey marched him down the field. And it was about I don't know if it was like I forget if it was like a 15-yard rip or whatever it was. But J.K. bounced a run to the outside. It was a good run in all fairness, and scored a touchdown and ended up with 63 yards and a TD And that's going to enable this staff to continue to use JK a little more for a little while. So we're maybe in a holding pattern where Harvey is somebody you would potentially bench until he gets unleashed. And when he gets unleashed, he will be a top 6 to 12 running back. I don't have a doubt of that in my mind, because when he touches the ball, he's phenomenal. He was leading the team in yards per carry almost the entire game. He had only 4 or 5 carries, but he had way more yards per carry than everybody else getting touches. And then they give him the ball and he rips off a 50-yard run. So Harvey is a special case of Chase Brown last year. How many games do you wait until he gets unlocked? Is it Jahmyr Gibbs where he actually doesn't get unlocked until week 7? Hard to say. That possibility exists. Cedric Tillman was a sneaky little play all week when we get questions, and we'd occasionally say, yeah, put him in, throw him in. 52 receiving yards and 1 TD and 5 receptions. Cedric Tillman was really, really nice. And Nick Chubb, 60 yards. Cortland Sutton had 61 and a touchdown. He always seems to score. He was very solid. Matthew Stafford, 245 and a touchdown. He looked pretty good today. Ricky Pearsall caught 4 passes for 108, and that was a lot of that came on that one play. Sorry, 104, 108, and so the volume will probably be there for him because Jennings is injured, and so he's a good play. I would still look to sell him, but he's a good play and good hold as well. He kind of fits the bill for both. Tesla, as we said, would get very little work but be ultra efficient. His only target was a touchdown. So Tesla, like I said, they will design plays for him, and he will be just one of those wide receivers that's the most efficient one around. He's going to get 1 target and he scores a touchdown. So that was unbelievable if you had him in there and you get that salvage touchdown reception. Judy caught 5 passes for 66 yards. Brock Purdy went... Purdy had 277, 2 TDs and 2 INTs, so he looked really bad at times, and then he had a couple really decent throws. But that final touchdown pass, everybody's like, what a throw. It wasn't. He threw it into congestion, and it was such a good rip and catch. The Niners got really lucky at the end of that game. Michael Mayer, 38 yards on 4 catches. He would have been pretty relevant if there was missed time. Thornton, our rookie phenom, caught 2 balls for 45 yards. That was decent. Dylan Sampson was kind of a monster today. Sampson looked so good. There's almost no way that Judkins comes back and takes the 3rd down work. This guy ran the ball 12 times for 29 yards, so Judkins could come back and grab some of that rushing, but he still looked phenomenal doing what he was doing. He caught 8 passes for 64 yards. We've said that this is the guy. This is the receiver. This is the 3rd down back. Sampson proved that today, and he played phenomenal. Evan Ingram, questionable return with a calf injury. That was devastating. Who knows what that leads to. And that's kind of all the news I think that we didn't cover in the graphics. So let me hit these super chats that are on screen or will be on screen here in a second. I appreciate all of you. Let me pull up the game when it starts, so I'll have it at least playing where I can take a look at it. Let me see if I can find the game, the countdown of this next game here. Hold on one second. Let me just pull this up. What channel is it going to be on? Here it is. Bills and Ravens. Okay, I got that game right there in case I need to reference that as we go. We got a $50 hauler here from Seven dropping a 50 watt on screen. You absolute straight savage, my boy. $50. Give me $50 holler. Thank you, my man, for dropping the 50 watt on screen. A big win in a battle royale thanks to Smitty, the man, the myth, the legend, to Jupiter. Let him cook. Bro, what did you win? What did you hit? I'm currently, out of all my best ball drafts, I'm currently set to win $2,500. That's what it says, currently winning $2,500. So we're doing good, but it's early. Some of that stuff is, predictive. Like if the thing were to end now, you win that, but it's going to fluctuate. It could go up or down. But what did you get, my boy? What did you end up winning on the Battle Royale? I'm very curious to hear what you did. Congrats on that. Thank you for the $50 hauler. You straight savage, you. Straight savage. Let me hit these other $20 haulers we've got on the screen here. Sam dropping a 20 wad. Sam, thank you very much for dropping that, my man. Let me head on over to the next $20 hauler, put it on screen. Jay with a $20 hauler. Jay, thank you very much, young man. I'll answer your question after I get to this one. And then Dallas fan with the $20 hauler. Appreciate you dropping yours as well. And then I'll get to the rest of the super chats just as soon as I finish these. This one from Sam says, hey, Smitty, trying to add some bench depth to my team. Should I drop Ford or Dowdle or both? You're the Chuba owner. For Justice Hill or Keaton Mitchell before kickoff. I'd be okay dropping Dowdle for Keaton Mitchell. Absolutely. So I'm going to say Smitty approve on that. No doubt about it. Smitty, take a victory lap. This might be your best year. I'm 5-5 wins in fantasy leagues. Thank you, Dallas. Appreciate you. We're not hitting you can't be perfect. I know there's some people, when I came in the chat, I saw people going, man, this is a rough day. I mean, anybody could draft the wrong number of players because we're not going to land everything. I mean, Hendy, Harvey, Hampton, a handful of Bo Nix. There are some calls on this channel that have not yet to provide. And so someone might have that combination. And so I'm not going to sit here, even when that comment comes in, and I truly appreciate it, and pretend like we haven't missed stuff. Like we're always going to miss stuff. But I think we've been damn accurate. If anybody were to come out here and drop all the predictions that we got to drop, talk about everything we talk, sometimes 5 to 7, 9 hours a day, you're going to miss a ton of stuff because you're talking about a ton of stuff. But for the most part, we have smashed a lot so far. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited. Appreciate you, but no victory laps until the very end. Appreciate you, though. What do I do, Smitty? 12-team, Nix, Genty, Bucky, Garrett, Marv, Worthy, Hunter, Loveland. Probably stand down. This is a really good team. You panic on Bucky or Genty or even Nix right now, you're selling low. Marv was good enough today. Worthy may or may not come back. The word is that, he's probably going to maybe miss some time, but he's going to try and come back and play with the jacket. Hunter's going to develop. Don't worry about that. Sharps looked really good, and he might become the starter. Kenneth Walker did not look good, so don't overreact or panic. Worry about London? Absolutely worried about London because he could miss some time. I'd say right now on the London front, we're probably looking at London missing I'd probably put it 0 to 3 games, but I put 0 because we just don't know yet. We're in a holding pattern. We got 1.4. We got 1,400 people in the building right now. Please hit subscribe because your boy goes live whenever news breaks. And I know some of you are going to turn on the game here soon, and I want to make sure you don't leave and not subscribe to the channel and have this on lock for when you need to have breaking news. And when we go live, we will literally cover everything. Anytime big news breaks, we go live. Midnight Eastern, I go live almost every single night at midnight, and I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Bills are returning that ball right now, so that game is starting right now. Josh Allen's running onto the field. Let's hit these super chats. Worried about London? We sure are. It's probably an AC joint, and as long as there is an extensive damage and there's like a break anywhere, which they'll have X-rays back, and they should know if there's anything that's off or abnormal. And they can also feel it if it's raised up or something. We're probably looking at 0 to 3 weeks, but we just don't know. It might become a pain tolerance issue, but that might be after about 10 days where you'd have that. 10 to 14 days could potentially be needed. So I'd say a week, and then he'll be very questionable to play that next one, and then maybe can push it and play. So I would say expect to be without him for a game, but you may not be without him at all. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, he's day-to-day because Kentucky, we don't have the results to his imaging. So exactly what I just said. Smitty, I'm in a freak out Freddie about RJ Harvey. Megas, you shouldn't be, because this is expected that there is a chance that they unveil these rookies slowly. That it's definitely something that happens. Had Nico, Jamar Chase, and AJ Brown. Well, I think you'll be okay next week. I would maybe look to shop A.J. Brown, but yeah, you couldn't have had a worse grouping of wide receivers to bust on you this week. That's wild. But when you change lanes on the freeway and your lane is slowing down and the other lanes are going fast, what happens? You change lanes on the freeway and then the lane you get in slows down and the lane you were in zips by you. So you got to be careful. So happy for Garrett Wilson and MHJ. What a relief, says Worldwide West. See, we're going to have differing opinions on how everybody's doing. Some of you just happen to pick, the wrong combo of certain guys and had a bad week. And you need to realize that you could be the one that has a good week. We just got to decide whether there's, a good trade for you to make that's out there. I got offered Hunter for my Egbuka or Egbuka Tracy for Henry. So you got offered Hunter for your Egbuka. James, why would you even ask me that? Or Egbuka and Tracy for Henry. I mean, that one, maybe wait and see what happens in this game tonight when you make a decision about Egbuka for Henry. But I don't ever want to hear you say you're trading Egbuka for anybody else like that again. And I like Hunter, but what are you doing? He's a top 10 wide receiver. Started BTJ, Collins, and Evans. Rough week. You'll be okay. BTJ, Collins, and Evans are a fantastic trio. That is one of the better trios you could draft going forward. So please don't overreact. Traded Swift and Pitts for Tyler Warren and Coleman. Traded Swift and Pitts for Tyler Warren. Yeah, it's a win. That's a nice win with the Tyler Warren move. I like that, bro. That's a nice job. Got to pick Fannin back up. Dropped him for Arroyo. Well, you shouldn't have if you were watching the waiver wire shows. But yes, do that. That would be a good move. Trade Nico. I would trade for Nico if that makes you feel better about having him and being concerned and worried. We got 1,100 people in the building. Please hit that subscribe button. You found your new home. We go live whenever big news breaks. I go live after games every Sunday. I go live after the Sunday night game. For those of you watching right now, 1,100 of you on YouTube and on X, I think. How many do we have on X? Oops, wrong button. How many do we have on X? I think we got like 100 or so, or 200. For those of you watching on X, make sure you come back because we will be live after this game. I think we got 300 over there, 200 or 300 over there, 1,100 on YouTube. We will be back after this game. Okay, we got a big long run here. Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen are marching down the field. Smitty, did you forget Sharbs? Did I forget Sharbs? I didn't talk about Sharbs. You're correct because I was trying to fit everybody in. But Sharbs was fantastic today, and was just a fun player to watch. Let me pull up his stats from the game. Let me see if I can grab these real quickly, and I'll give you the exact numbers. Where is that game? Let me find that game. Seattle game. Box score. Bobby, that bad boy. Here it is. Charbonnet, 12 for 47 and a touchdown. And then, of course, he had, I'll screenshot this and put it on screen for you. And then receiving Charbonnet, I don't think he caught a ball, which was kind of disappointing. But he's definitely on the rise. And this was another game where it was kind of a wild ticking down of time and time of possession and just a battle, tug and pull for time. 12 carries for 47 yards and a touchdown. He had a really good day. So Sharbs is fantastic. Kevin, yeah, I just didn't get to everybody, but Sharbs, we did mention him. But Sharbs is somebody that I think people should be really excited about. Love you, Smitty, but what happened? James, this is what I'm saying. Did you pick the wrong number of guys? You love me, but what? You love me, but what? Did you think did I fail you today? Because we had a lot of winners. You just picked the wrong ones, James, and I can't be held accountable because you picked the right combination of guys that didn't hit today. You love me, but what happened? I don't know, James. What happened? Appreciate your super chat, but everybody in here has got different situations, and there's a lot of people in here that are celebrating, James. So I'm not sure what you mean. You can clarify if you want. Brees to the moon. Drafted him round 4. Brees was a marvel. Was a mother freaking marvel. And as for the Green Bay scores, and let me see if I can put the Green Bay box score up. Jordan Love had 2 touchdowns, 188 yards. He was okay. I don't know what it is that you're. Let me see if I can put that other message up on screen. Where is it at? I love you, Smitty, but what happened? Jordan Love season. I mean, he had 188 and 2 touchdowns. He did pretty well. I don't know what you mean. I think we're all confused at your message, but I still appreciate you. Breeze to the moon, drafted him in the 4th round. Rise above. Excellent job on that, my boy. World West says Samson, 12 carries, 8 of 8 receptions. Fannin going up in value. West, we do love both those guys. Samson looks really, really good right now. Again, 1,000 of you in the chat. Please hit that thumb up button and please subscribe so that you don't miss a single show. Thoughts on Genty and Achane rest of season? As we mentioned, and we didn't talk about Genty too much yet. Genty had a touchdown, but a bad day on the ground. 2.2 or something yards per carry. But he scored, and he looked fantastic on a couple runs. It was just flow of game with him as well. And so Genty is a 100% buy low. I've seen some really crazy freakouts. Something tells me he might be one of the better buys because he already had some concerns with his 3 carries for -1 yards in the preseason. Came out and had a good preseason game, but then having this 2-point-something yards per carry might make him a fantastic buy low. So what are my thoughts on him? I think he's a top 5 running back still, and I have zero hesitations about that. So we're going to smash the hell out of the buy Genty situation. So thank you very much for that super chat. This one here is from Wes. Wes says, Sharps, Walker, only a matter of time. Agree. And who knows if they trade Walker, but, you know, hard to trade a player that's not playing well, so it's kind of problematic. Like, what do? You play him to get him up in value and then trade him. Lions may be in QB shop sooner than some think. Yeah, I mean, like I've said all offseason, Goff is probably turning more into a pumpkin than he is, you know, resembling what he's resembled over the years. Ben Johnson will be missed. Bill, a must start next weekend over Hendy or Harvey. Over Hendy, maybe not. Over Harvey, until further notice, probably. We'll have to play that by ear, though. Appreciate you. We'll have more information. Should I offer Pearsall Sharps for Hampton, Bo Nix? I probably would rather have Hampton and, well, it depends. If Sharps is the starter, no. So, Drizzo, you're really beholden to what ends up happening with Charbonnet. If Charbonnet becomes a starter, then he's a top 6 to 10 running back potentially. So, it's not a real easy question to answer, and I think that there's pros and cons to both. There's no way to even tell you this versus that. Feeling good coming out of week 1. Thanks, Smitty. Some are. E83, some aren't. And you can tell who has the good ones and who drafted the bad ones today, because there'll be people that want to blame the show or something when all these other people are smashing it. Did you cover Ingram's injury? We just said that he did suffer an injury, went to the tent twice, and we'll have more information tomorrow on Ingram. But not good news that he went to the tent twice. And just concerning that he could miss some time, but we'll have to see. He was really hampered and hobbled on the sideline. PPR, pick 1 for week 2. Samson, Bill, Hollywood Brown, Keenan. I'd probably go Bill if it was me, but Samson's also a very, very safe play. Thoughts on Nico? Would you feel comfortable playing Debo or Pearsall over him? Why would you bench Nico, a top 9 overall player, after 1 game? This is where we get to a point where it's a ridiculous overreaction to things. And like, you know, you were probably the guy that when I said, guys, we're going to come in here in week 1, people are going to be freaking out. And you were like, yeah, that guy. You don't realize that there's a line, and you just, unfortunately, and I appreciate your super chat, I'm just trying to put you in your place. You're on the other side. You're the guy we were talking about. You're on that other side. We need you to get back over, climb over the fence and get back over here. The fact that you even uttered the words in a super chat to bench Nico is craziness. Lost Kittle, any replacement ideas? Fannin. The waiver wire video will be up. We'll probably do. We'll do a. You'll see how I do the waivers this year. After the game, we'll talk a little bit about the waiver wire. So just check this board right here. Make sure these guys aren't strange. Is a good one. Fannin Jr. obviously is the top guy we talked about all off season. So hopefully you and then look to that San Francisco room, because then you can kind of cuff it in a way. This one here from PF. I appreciate you, PF. PF says, I think you missed my last super chat. I didn't. You're just in a queue, my boy. So, or I already, yeah, you're in a queue. Just relax. I'm getting to them as fast as I can. In fact, I'll pull yours up right here. Thank you for the super chat. Which wide receiver should I trade away and buy low? Running backs do I target? My receivers are T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, and Travis Hunter, and Egbuka. You can't sell anybody. Those guys are not sellable. No problem, PF. The only one you can sell is Egbuka, and I don't want you to. I mean, you could explore, like, what would the offer be? Would someone give you a Nico Collins, like the guy that just asked should he bench Nico Collins? Maybe that. I mean, he might be vulnerable to trading Nico because he's going to bench him. So would I take Nico Collins over Egbuka? I'm not saying I would or wouldn't. I want to do a more complicated trade that just, if I needed to make moves, I would be considering everything, and that would include selling the guy I love so much in Egbuka. So if you can get a Nico Collins and do some sort of running back swap that quietly you like, also there's moves to be made. Running backs to target right now definitely involve Genty, Achane, Hampton, Hendy. Those are really good players to potentially trade. And so if you were, let's say, moving Cortland Sutton even for a Hendy, that would make a lot of sense. For a Hampton, that would make a lot of sense without moving Egbuka. But hard to say you could pull that off or not. It depends on the freak-out Freddies that you're dealing with. But the fact that we're getting questions about sitting Nico Collins makes me think that you can really get some of these guys really cheap. We knew we'd see some players coming out of this week. Hammer says, Smitty, admit you were wrong. No. No, Hammer. I don't even know what you're referencing. Wrong about what? What is it, Hammer, that you think that I've missed so hard on? And, like, do tell the chat. The chat will let you know whether you're out of place or not. Because, Hammer, it sounds like you're bitter about some decision you made. And you want me to be responsible for it. I started Bill and Double E. Let's freaking go. Gray did the right thing, Hammer. Gray's winning. Gray's smashing. Danny Dimes looked good. He did, but keep in mind that Darnold also looked good and then turned into a pumpkin. I don't believe Danny Dimes is going to continue to play and ball out at the level he did today. I think this is a paper tiger moment for him. Kenneth owners are cooked. If you don't have Charbonnet, yeah. You can't draft Walker without Charbonnet. We told you that all offseason. I didn't create this board here for fun. I created this board here so that you would make sure you crush your league. So Walker has been atop of that board. Walker and Sharps. Are Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers legit long term? I think Aaron Rodgers could be if he stays healthy, but I don't think Daniel Jones will continue to be a solid. But we'll see. He could be serviceable for a little while, but he's certainly bad for JT, I think. Unfortunately, I have Kenneth Walker with no Sharps. I have Bucky and Bill as my other running backs. Would you package K. Walker and Warren for Hampton? Absolutely. You pull that off, we'll quit our jobs and come work for you. Also, try for Kyron, try for Genty, try for Hendy. I'd trade that for Hendy as well. Hill, appreciate you dropping the super chat. My friend took a risk and sat Garrett Wilson for E squared and left BTJ in. Both Garrett Wilson and E squared went crazy for 22 and 23 points respectively. BTJ, thanks for your info regardless. Thank you, Hill. I mean, look, you didn't make a mistake. You don't sit BTJ. So you made the right move. So if you're questioning anything about that, like, don't. Anybody that says, I shouldn't have played BTJ, like, that's a freak out, Freddy. 12-team PPR, Knicks, Genty, Hendy, London, Hunter, Harvey, bench, JCM, Rushy, Rice. Lost week 1. Should I be worried? No. You have Genty. You have like London. You couldn't have helped that. Genty, Hendy. No, this is a great team. Kittle, Harvey. It's all going to come around. JCM is ready for the season. You don't really have anybody you can sell high right now. With the Kittle injury, just kind of tread water a little bit. Let's see if Genty, Hendy. Let's hopefully London does play. If London doesn't play, you could look to potentially trade him, but it's a tough situation to be in for you because you don't have anybody you can move right now. You're kind of in a holding pattern for a week. Team is 150 points now. 1-0 was T-Law, Bucky, Bajan, Ladd, JSN, Buka, Hendy. Great squad. Bench is Herbert, Debo, Ollie, any moves. Put Herbert in your lineup for now, for sure. And honestly, Debo maybe needs to go in your lineup over, I guess, Hendy for now is a safe move, and get Herbert in the lineup and don't drop Ollie, sell highs, book it to the moon. I just sit on that team. I just make those roster moves and let the bench talent gain value. But don't drop Ollie Gordon. I think a lot of people are going to ask me if they should drop Ollie Gordon this week, and I'm going to send a lot of people on some laps. Would you trade Hurts for Egbuka and Brian Robinson Jr.? I have Herbert and Penix Jr. I don't mind Egbuka over Hurts, but I would try and get a little bit more if possible. Like, can you change out Brian Robinson Jr. for something else? But I mean, if we drafted today, we probably would draft Egbuka over Hurts. So if you got to pull that off one for one, I would, or get the Brian Robinson Jr. value. Down 2 points, I have Josh Allen, and the opponent has Zay and Bills. Do I don't have a kicker, and I can drop Kincaid and pick up a kicker. Well, this came in obviously too late to answer, but I never. My answer to this is I would never go without a kicker or defense and try and get crafty and then lose a week. I don't think that's a smart way to play fantasy football. Thank you, PF. Appreciate you. Always be wary that when we come in, ask your question that can help you, not something right before kickoff if we're doing a recap show, because you're never going to get your answer quick enough. So just ask me something that's relevant to your team. Smitty, which wide receiver should I trade away, and what buy low running back should I target? Receivers are T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, Travis. Oh, I already read this one. Egbuka. Love this team. Trading Cortland Sutton for Hendy, for Hampton. That's definitely the move to make. Appreciate you with your super chat. This one is from Toxic with a $20 hauler. Appreciate Toxic. Toxic's the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you, Toxic. Winning but panicking. I bet H.N. Connor barely salvaged. Without London, my wide receivers might be cooked except for Hunter and Tet and Pickens underperforming. I think those will be okay while you wait for London, and I don't think London will be out very long, so you might be okay. Might need to hope that Charbonnet can be upside flex play. Yeah, you probably put Charbonnet in for sure. And Sharps might get you a trade value, but I think you just wait because London I don't think will be out long. Thank you for that super chat. Just hang tight. Let's hear what's going to happen with Sharps next week. And if you had to trade London and Sharps for like one player, you could, but I think I just wait. I don't think people are going to overpay for Sharps or London right now. Wondering if my Barkley for Genty trade was bad. Is this Dynasty? I forget if this is Dynasty. In redraft, I think it'll be fine, bro. Genty scored a touchdown. Genty was fine. I don't know why anybody's freaking out on Genty right now. And at the end of the day, Barkley has been overworked, and by the time he gets to midseason, he'll be looking at like 600 carries in a year and a half. So you got to remember the long game is to avoid that week 10, week 12, week 14 injury for Barkley, which is kind of likely. Pittman or Golden rest of season? Probably Golden if I had to pick, but that's, anything can happen with names at that level. If Ingram misses, who would you drop for Fannin? Would you drop for Fannin or Kincaid? I'd try not to drop Ingram. To give up on him right now would be a little premature, but I definitely would rather have Fannin over him right now. If you put me in a vacuum and I had to make a decision to not have Fannin or drop Ingram, I guess I would, but I prefer you not drop him. How about CMC? Can you admit you were wrong? No, I'm not wrong on CMC. What did I tell you? I told you he could come out, and even if he doesn't get injured in the game, he's going to be at such high risk all year long for an injury. Why would I admit I'm wrong when I told you that this is a potential one of the outcomes? That he goes out there, gets overworked by his coach is reckless, and CMC is a little worse for the wear walking into the next week, and you think he's going to hold up over the course of a season at his mileage with his body, with his injury-prone body? I don't think so. So do I admit I'm wrong? No. The fact that you think I'm wrong already is hilarious coming out of week one. It's insane. I appreciate you, Smitty. Won by a mile today. JD5, Egbuka, Debo, Bajan, Bucky, Bowers, and Hendy. Listened and learned from the best mashed potatoes, Appreciate you, my boy. See, it's all angles too. What angle are you looking from? What angle are you looking from? He's already bashing Debo because he's not a Niner. Who's bashing Debo? So many people bashing Debo. Where are they at now? Cricket sounds. Nobody. I appreciate you, Smitty. Thank you. You won by a mile. Congrats, my boy. I'm excited for you. Jaime with the super chat. We got 942 left on YouTube. Remember, we're coming back after the game. I sat Garrett Wilson for Harvey due to matchups, and I'm currently the points leader of the league anyway. I'm up 64 points. JJ left to play. Jaime, that's a great story, and it's hilarious. You sat Garrett Wilson and you're crushing everybody. That's how good your team is. Panic on Ferguson, Jake Ferguson. I mean, I never thought we were in the Jake Ferguson car to even be panicking on him. Drop Tootin for Fannin. I'd rather drop Ferguson for Fannin. I mean, I don't know what the tight end pool looks like, but I don't want to drop Tootin because I still think he could have league-winning potential. Remember not to overreact, especially with rookies. I appreciate you, Smitty. Won by a mile today. JD5, Egbuka, Debo, Bajan, Bucky, Bowers, and Hendy. Listen to learn. Oh, I just read that one. Thank you. Appreciate you for dropping the super chat. Why do I have a repeat on this? Oh, I guess I just copied it like 10 times there when I was pulling it over. I'm sorry. 2,700 messages on YouTube from you guys already in an hour and 16 minutes. I'm going to jump out of here so that we can get back right before the game ends. So appreciate all of your super chats. Thank you very much. Let's all meet back here, reconvene. I'll have the video placeholder up with the live chat and the video up about 5 to 10 minutes before the game actually ends, so we can all congregate in the live chat, and then I'll hit the go button as soon as the game ends, and we'll talk a little bit about waiver wire stuff and what to expect this year. Marcus, appreciate your final super chat. Drop Thornton for Fannin Jr. or Pitts. Your tight end one's Warren? I don't think so. I mean, maybe. Thornton and Fannin Jr. are both upside guys. I guess I would rather have Fannin Jr. than Thornton, but I'm not necessarily wanting you to cut either one. But if I'm in a vacuum and I'm forced to make a decision, the answer is yes. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you how excited I am about Egbuka, and I'm excited for all of you that own him and have him. And let's get after it. See you all in about 2 hours or so. We'll be back when the game ends. Appreciate every single one of you. Live whenever big news breaks. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Live after the games. Deuce.